Welcome to the Fantasy Aces podcast. I'm your host, Mike Handel, filling in for Joe Bellavalois. I think that's how he normally says it. Right?
Close enough.
So, yeah, for sure. So we've got a show for you today, a show minus Joe B. But first of all, I have a question for you guys, because you know what time of year it is. Is that withdrawal feeling kind of setting in yet? Has it set in? Are you getting the Sunday cringes?
Yeah, I mean it's tough, like I like nothing to really look forward to on Thursday nights or Sundays. But I mean, hey, this is where the champions are born, it's the off seasons when the grind starts. So I mean we're ready to get after it. So just hanging in there.
I can't say much better than he already did. I mean, I'm gonna miss football. It's gonna be a long time until we see football again. But those Sunday nights and Thursday nights absolutely will not be the same as they usually are during the cold days. So I certainly will miss football. So the withdrawal syndrome is happening as we speak.
It's kicked in. It's kicked in, Mike.
Yeah.
To answer your question, it's already kicked in.
My back's starting to hurt from it.
Well, it's rough because my wife lets me watch as much football as I want during the regular season. It's awesome. But then when it's off-season time, I'm watching Vanderpump Rules with her. And I don't know if you guys know what that show is, but if you don't, you're better for it. All right. Okay. All right. So we're at an interesting time, right, in the NFL season right now. A brand new season theoretically can begin now, and we're in between the Super Bowl and the Combine. And the Combine, when it's in person, when it's not a pandemic year, is usually where everyone's going to collude and see who are you trading? Can we get this for him? The agents are talking to teams. The agents are talking to players. The GMs are illegally talking to agents. It's crazy, but this year it's not happening that way. So what are they going to do? Is there going to be more activity? Is there going to be less activity? Is it going to be exactly the same? So part of the fun is guessing where the quarterbacks are going to go. That's the most, fun position, and it means the most. So we're going to have a little bit of a whirlwind today on quarterback talk. But first, we're going to do the quarterback rankings of what we think fantasy projections for next year. And the way we're going to do it is I'm going to go through my 1 through 12 list of fantasy quarterbacks. If you guys have anything to say about where I've got guys or any points you want to make, let me know. We can talk about it, and then we'll go through whatever, differences you guys have after I go through my list. All right. Are you ready?
Let's get after it.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. All right. So number one, I don't know if you guys think I'm going to do this. I don't know if you guys have him here. Deshaun Watson. I'm going Deshaun Watson number one. Yeah. Here, let me tell you why. Because JJ Watt is gone, right? That is like a sinker for the defense. He's their leader. Like, that's going to hurt. So they're going to be behind even more than they were last year, right? They have a new offensive coach. They have a star running back who's a year older, probably a year worse. And they're just not going to have that great of a running game. So they're going to be behind in every game with no running game. I think he's going to have to put up tons of points. So
So do you expect them to bring back Will Fuller, or do you see like another free agent coming in there?
So that's tough. I don't know. Obviously they need someone of his ilk or better for Deshaun Watson to be, where I project him to be at number one.
Like maybe a DeAndre Hopkins or something. I mean, that'd be kind of cool, right?
They're the perfect team that needs a DeAndre Hopkins, unfortunately. So I don't know. They need him for that, for my ranking to be true or something. But man, the last second half of the year, last quarter of the year, Deshaun Watson was on fire. Man, he's excellent, and I do think that he'll stay in Houston. All right, number two, unfortunately, Patrick Mahomes. It's hard to argue with that. You could say but the Super Bowl, they figured him out. No, that's not true. Tampa's great. They have great players. They had a great scheme, 2 weeks to prepare. So I think Mahomes will be back. Josh Allen, and the only reason I would have thought about switching Mahomes and Allen and putting Allen at 2, but Mahomes gets the Raiders and the Broncos and the Chargers, and then Josh Allen has to go against the Patriots, the Jets with the new defensive head coach, the Dolphins who have a good defense at times. So those 6 games could make the difference in a fantasy ranking. All right. Number 4, I've got Aaron Rodgers. 5, Kyler Murray. 6, Russell Wilson. 7, Tom Brady.
Go.
8, Lamar Jackson. 9, Justin Herbert. 10, Kirk Cousins. 11, Joe Burrow. And 12, Matthew Stafford.
So you expect Brady to be still at that elite level? You don't see any drop off or anything? I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, being in the top 12, obviously, what? Going to go into age 44? You worried about a decline or free agents leaving or anything? Or what do you expect? You expect them to bring the whole band together?
Not until I see it, man. Like every year, like, and he didn't slow down. He's still like throwing really nice, deeper ball. Like if he throws a ball over 35 yards, it's not like it's a duck like Drew Brees threw it. Yeah. It's nice. It's a nice.
You
ball
do just gotta remember. You just gotta remember though. I'm not saying I'm not gonna be the Tom Brady cliff guy, but I'll just be the devil's advocate. The Peyton Manning year, I mean, that just came out of nowhere. There was no warning signs. He had an amazing season the year before, and then boom, everything just gone. So
yeah,
it'll always be the back of my mind when you're drafting older guys. So I mean, you'll see my rankings reflect that a little bit because again, I don't want to screw up that position, but I mean, I haven't seen any signs or anything, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, 7th is not 1st or 2nd. So I mean, but it is tough when I'm putting Tom Brady right above Lamar Jackson, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean,
that is true.
You want to talk about two like guys that could not be more like dissimilar. I mean, these guys are the polar opposites. That is kind of crazy.
And then I've got Justin Herbert there. I'm interested to see you, and then Joe Burrow. So I have Burrow and Herbert cracking my top 12 there, and then I did put Stafford in. I snuck him in at 12, just for fun, so we could talk about it. All right, Sonny, what are your big differences? Do you have any guys that you have drastically different? Maybe some guys that I didn't include.
I mean, so I'm not even going to talk about Mahomes. I want to put Kyler at 1, so I mean, my number 2 is going to be. But I mean, again, I just want to say I'm just going to go straight to number 2 because Kyler Murray was the best quarterback in fantasy before the shoulder injury. So again, I think he just has an amazing floor with his rushing ability. And again, he's got arguably the best receiver in the league. And I mean, there's been rumors linked with, I mean, if they land a Godwin, even a Juju, I will put Kyler Murray at number 1 for me personally. But even without it, like right now, I would still put Kyler at 2. I mean, I think Josh Allen, is fine. I just don't see him having that amazing year that he did. And the reason I see a slight decline is I can see them adding a running back that will take away those goal line carries from him. But yeah, and then next up, your guy number 1. Yeah, go ahead. You got a question?
Yeah, so are you worried at all? Because you mentioned injury with Kyler Murray. Are you injury conscious with him? Like that he has a higher propensity for getting injured because A, he's a runner, and like you're talking about that amazing floor, but also B, he's not very big. And if you get tackled by 250-pound linebackers all the time, you're not going to last 16 games.
Yeah, and I mean, it's fair to make a concern about that, but I am actually not worried about the injury with Kyler Murray at all. Specifically, the way he runs, I think he is a smart runner. And I mean, you want to talk about getting hit. What about Russell Wilson? I mean, their size pretty similar. He's been hit more times than anyone in the league. And I mean, even our number 1 guy, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he had that turf toe this year, and then he had the injury a few years ago with his knee getting dislocated. So that's, again, something that every quarterback deals with. And I think Murray's just – I mean, he's a baseball player. He knows how to slide and avoid contact. So, and I'm personally not worried about him at all with the injury. But yeah, and then next up, I mean, Watson. I mean, you said enough about him. I expect him to go to a different team. But I mean, if you want to make a debate, he's the best quarterback in the league. Like, I'm not going to argue with you. So I don't care where he goes. I think he'll be a top 5 quarterback regardless. Yeah.
I, for the record, I don't think he's the best quarterback in the league. I'm going to say that's Patrick Mahomes begrudgingly every time. I just think his fantasy potential is insane next year.
And I'm going to say personally, I'm still going to go with 1, but I really don't think the gap is as big as some people would make it out to be. So again, if you wanted to say it, like, I have no problem. I mean, that's just how amazing he is. I think we can all agree on that. But yeah, so he'll be amazing. Jets, Raiders, Denver, like I don't care. Like he's gonna be great.
Texans. I think he'll probably stay.
We know he was top 5 with the Texans. I mean, yeah, Deshaun Watson top 5, book it. Then we got Lamar, and then after that I got Dak. This is actually tough for me. The only reason I have Dak below Lamar is when I went an injury. That's maybe a little concerned. He only drops a spot for me because he's coming off an injury. If I knew he's fully healthy, maybe he does jump Lamar. Then I got Justin Herbert because we all love Justin Herbert. I think he'll be even better. And then Russell Wilson, then Aaron Rodgers. I see a decline. I don't see him having nearly this type of season that he had this year. And then here's where it gets different. I got Jalen Hurts at 10, actually. And
Yeah,
I mean,
like
this is just strictly fantasy. Is he a top 10 quarterback in the league? I mean, I don't think he's close to that. But again, you see guys like Kyler this year, Lamar the year before, Josh Allen, just people with that rushing floor are just a cheat code. So again, I mean, he can counteract with inaccuracy with his rushing ability. So I think if he plays all 16 games as a starter, he'll be a top 10 quarterback. And then 11, I got Stafford. And then 12, I got Tannehill. So I don't actually have Brady on there, which, yeah, and that's what I want.
wow.
You don't have Herbert either?
No, I have
Is it
Herbert
12?
I have him at 7, right below Dak, and right above Russell
All right.
Wilson. So
Got it. Yeah,
I'm pretty high on Herbert.
I didn't have Dak in my top 12.
And do you think that's something you forgot about, or do you actually not have him in your top 12? I mean, if you want to be worried about the injury.
I briefly considered it. I just like all these other guys more. Like, yes, Dak Prescott had a crazy first 3 games last season.
Yeah.
I just like, I don't think that that's him. I think he's capable of it. I just don't think that that's the Cowboys and what they're going to do all the time. He certainly can. I just don't see it happening.
I'm going to say, to answer Jerome's question, top 10 fantasy, right? Not top 10 in the league. But I will say again, Dak Prescott was arguably the best fantasy quarterback. And again, you just look at his weapons. I mean, their defense is still going to be bad. They got Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. Hopefully Blake Jarwin gets back healthy at tight end. And who knows? What if they get a splash play? Like, who knows? What if they land a Kyle Pitts or something? Either way, I think the defense is going to be terrible, and they're just going to keep throwing and throwing and throwing the ball. So, again, we'll see how it goes. But I'm pretty high on him, and I think he'll be back to what he was.
Yeah, I probably underrated him there a little bit, kind of getting caught up with Joe Burrow, who I know is going to be throwing all the time. They're going to want to play with Matthew Stafford and their new toy as much as possible. So I snuck some guys in there. Dak, it was between Dak and Stafford for that 12th spot, and just because of philosophy and how I thought they would be doing. All right, Nate, what kind of differences do you have? What are your things here? Tell us your things.
So I'll tell you the things. Pretty much, I mean, I stuck pretty much the basic for the most part, but I did change it up a little bit because you know how high I was on Tom Brady, but he's not in my top 3. So I think the obvious answer is what we were just talking about, is Patrick Mahomes. I love the guy. I mean, how can you not love him unless you're a Raiders fan, of course, which is a total good exception. So, I mean, Mahomes, he just lights it up like every year, and it's a shame what happened, outside of the fantasy world, during the Super Bowl with turf toe and offensive line issues, and us Philadelphia Eagles fans know, 1 or 2 things about offensive line issues. So I got Mahomes at number 1. I actually disagree. I think Josh Allen at number 2. I think he's going to light it up again. I like Josh Allen. I wasn't as high with Stephon Diggs mixing in with that group, but he totally, proved me wrong. He played phenomenal. And if I'm not mistaken, Mike, you traded for Stephon Diggs for Terry McLaurin, and it worked out great. And Stephon Diggs, he's playing phenomenal. So I think with yes.
Didn't work out that great for me. It was like we talked about. It was a move I made for the playoffs,
right?
Anticipating him in the playoffs, which he did outstanding, but it wasn't enough. I needed a higher seed, and I would have gotten a higher seed if I had kept those players that I traded for Stephon Diggs. So if there was a bad strategy, we've talked about it a lot.
Right.
It kills me every time.
I respect
I do like saying that I traded for him because he was the best receiver in fantasy.
That's what I'm saying. I respect
Yes.
it, Mike. If it was me, just accept the compliment. It's like, yeah, I'd trade for Stephon Diggs. I know
Right.
what I'm doing.
Yeah, so I mean,
Well,
I expect Josh Allen to have like another great season. I really do. I don't expect anything less than the Buffalo Bills. I think they really killed them inside when they were. I think a lot of people actually had them going all the way. Maybe not winning it, but at least going all the way to the Super Bowl. Other than that, at number 3, I have the guy, in my opinion, who sadly choked in the NFC Championship game was Mr. Aaron Rodgers. I was very sad to see because I wanted him to win his ring so badly. He deserved it. I expect him to be taking the top 3. I really do. And if not, at least top 5. The dude's phenomenal, and I don't see anything changing. He needs some help. He really does. I mean, there's no question about it. But, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is just – it doesn't need to be said again. I just totally believe that he'll be at least top 3, top 5. Now, top 4. Number 4, I got Kyler Murray. I love Kyler Murray. He is he's phenomenal. I had him on fantasy. And let me tell you, you better take him as quick as you can because he killed it for me. I loved him every single week. Every single week, he was destroying the other team's quarterback. I was so happy for that. So I took him at number 4, and I think you should too. Now, moving on to number 5, I'm going to have to go to Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, in my opinion, is going to
over
be
Deshaun Watson.
over Deshaun Watson. And there's a reason for me, just because I don't know where Deshaun's going to go, and that's always been a thing with me, which doesn't mean he's going to play bad, but depending on where he goes is his big if on what he's surrounded with. But Justin Herbert is like, I mean, I remember talking on a few podcasts ago on how great Justin Herbert was, and Mike, I think you picked him up too. I think you stole him in one of the leagues, and he like dropping 30 points like every other week. Like he was playing phenomenal. So I have him at number 5.
Well, what about, I mean, what was it, Chad Hansen, Kiki QT? I mean, he was like still like was he like the number 1 quarterback one week without no Cooks, no Fuller? He had QT and Hansen. So it's like, I mean, you put him anywhere, it doesn't matter. As long as he has the ball, he'll be elite. So
yeah, he had over 4,000 yards and 31 touchdowns with only 10 interceptions. Like what? Like, and he wasn't as talked about as like other QBs in the league as much as he should have been, in my personal opinion, from what I've heard. So moving on to number 6, I have Mr. Tom Brady. The guy with the 7 rings. I think you guys know him. If you don't, it's okay. The dude's a Hall of Famer. I don't see him slowing down. The dude ages like fine wine. I mean, like, you can't tell me he does it. He gets better like every single year. And leaving New England has been such I guess you could say a blessing, because the direction New England was heading was the direction that Tom Brady was not heading. And so when he went to Tampa, I expect him to be taken at least in the top 10. I really do, or even higher. For the stats he played with. 43 years old, 4,600. I mean, 40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Like, come on. Like, that's amazing. That's pretty good. Moving number 7, I have Russell Wilson. I was kind of iffy on this. I really was. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback, but we saw what happened in that playoff. Now, I understand it's not, regular season doesn't count as fantasy, but if that offensive line plays the way they do during this next season and how bad he's been sacked, and it's scary. I mean, we saw it with Mahomes. We saw, with, Kyler Murray running around the field sometimes. Granted, he is smaller, but, Russell Wilson, phenomenal quarterback. I love him. I will take him. I actually wanted him over Kyler Murray, which, I'm actually thankful I got Kyler Murray instead. So moving on, then I have Lamar Jackson over Deshaun Watson. Yes, I think Lamar Jackson has a lot to prove. He started off the year slow, but I think he is, again, a lot to prove. He put up the numbers. He played pretty swell. He had a down year from his 2019 MVP campaign from, over 3,000 yards to 2,757 yards, 26 interceptions, or 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, excuse me. Number 9, I don't know if any of you guys had this. I had Baker Mayfield. I did. I put Baker Mayfield on there. And because I saw like Dak Prescott on there, higher, and I was like, you know what? Like, what about Baker? Like, he played really well with the Browns. And if I'm not mistaken, we were also all talking about how good he played without Odell Beckham. I mean, we saw it. It was like crazy. It was like chemistry was all there all over again. So I'm excited for that. I think he'll be taken certainly number 9. Number 10, then I have Deshaun Watson. I
Jeez.
really like Deshaun Watson. I got him in number 9.
Mm-mm.
Let me tell you something, okay? All right. I get it. Deshaun Watson has like no help, especially when your GM just trades away your best receiver for a bag of chips, pretty much. So it's really hard on Deshaun. Um, like I think even Mike was saying, he's gonna be throwing a lot of balls up in the air. He doesn't have like a great running game. He's gonna get a lot of points. He's gonna be running a lot. So I expect him to at least be in the top 12. I really do. I got number 10. Number 10. I don't know if you guys agree. But at number 10, I'm going to go with Dak Prescott. I think it's fair. Dak Prescott, he was, if I'm not mistaken, again, he was at least a top 5 in fantasy rankings last season, or in the beginning of this year, before his tragic injury. And the dude puts up numbers like crazy when he is on the field. And I'm pretty sure that the Dallas Mavericks, the Dallas Cowboys are going to franchise tag him. I'm sure they will. So moving on to that, at number 11, I got Joe Burrow. I like Joe Burrow. I think the ACL thing is horrible, but again, tragic. But the dude, we saw him play, opened our eyes, turned our heads. I mean, he plays phenomenal. He's another phenomenal quarterback that's up and coming. Him and Herbert, I'm really excited to see them both. And at number 12, it took me a minute, but I'm going to have to go with Matthew Stafford. I'm going to go with Stafford. I like him. I said on the previous podcast that I think he's going to do really well in Los Angeles. He has a chance to breathe in fresh, well, I wouldn't say fresh California air, but he's able to see Malibu maybe from a distance. He's be able to explore LA, do his own thing. So I, for number 12, got Matthew Stafford, and I think he's going to be a great quarterback. And it was either him or Ryan Tannehill. I was like bouncing between the both, but that would be my top 12.
Hey, I mean, we accomplished our goal of saying the things that we thought. So good job, us. All right. Next, we're going to play a little game with the QB carousel, the musical chairs. I'm going to say a quarterback, and we're going to go in a loop. Well, other way. Yeah, like that. So, Sonny, you're going to go.
Yeah.
And Nate's going to go, then I'm going to go. All right? All right, so I'm going to say one. And if you want, don't feel like you have to go into a monologue about it, but you can if you want. But if you want to just quickly go for it, you can do that too. All right, first one, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, Mike, you're gonna be happy about this.
I think
say, yeah, I feel that.
What do you guys think? Sonny?
I think he's gone for sure. But I mean, the question is where.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, just let him go. I mean, he wants out. Get as many picks as you can. Personally, if I'm the Texans, I wouldn't do it. I just think the writing's on the wall for him to leave. And I want him to stay. I'm thinking Raiders. I know you would love that, but I mean, again, because they got Derek Carr. So when we heard John Gruden on that podcast with Chris Collinsworth and Sherman, so I really think they're going to pursue him. I think Derek Carr, a lot of first-round picks. And then if they can afford, I don't know what their cap situation's like, but Deshaun Watson and pair him up with Allen Robinson somewhere that make it happen, and that's what I want to see. So
they're $20 million over right now as we speak.
Yeah. Well, then we can go to the Jets. The Jets.
Yeah.
I'll go with the Jets.
Point.
Allen Robinson, Watson. That's what I want to see.
Nate Watson, staying, going.
I want Allen Robinson. Yes, Allen Robinson, of course, great wide receiver. But Deshaun Watson, he's gone. I don't see him staying, and I think if the Texans do keep him, he won't play. I think he'll sit. He doesn't want. He wants to get out of the organization. They got rid of J.J. Watt. I think it's just time to get rid of now your quarterback. He doesn't want to be there. Why would you want somebody who doesn't want to be there? You know what I mean? So, I mean, they're going to do what they can. But if I think he's going to go anywhere, it's certainly either going to be, oh my gosh. I mean, My first thought, and I don't think it's possible, was not just the Jets, but if it could possibly be the Raiders. That was one of the teams that I thought of that could possibly get him. And some people said Jacksonville, but I was like with
No.
sometimes like they won't do that. Same, no way they're gonna do that. But the third team is the Indianapolis Colts. They need a quarterback badly, and I'm sure they've probably
No
talked.
way.
Not in that division. They were
No
not giving him
way.
that division.
I don't know.
No
We say
way.
no way, but
Nah,
you know
no.
anything's possible. You can't say no way. Things have happened. I
No
mean,
way.
I'm just saying we don't know. And my preferred place for him would probably be the Jets, realistically. And I agree with Sonny though. We talked about it last time. I think Allen Robinson needs to go where he goes. Ever since he obviously lost D Hop. So realistically, the Jets or the Bears, maybe even. Who knows? So
All right. All right. Let's speed through these ones. All right. There's a little simmer here for Russell Wilson. A little bit of noise. Is he staying or going? Sonny.
Yeah, he's staying. I want to see him leave, but I know he's staying. Not much to say.
yeah,
I
we know
want him
you're
out
gonna,
of there.
we know why you want him to leave. Don't.
Yeah. Second best quarterback.
Yeah. No, he's not going anywhere. They're not going to trade him. They're going to do what they can to help him. They know he has so much left in him to get maybe even a couple Super Bowls to Seattle. But he needs the help. Needs help up front. So he's not going anywhere. Mike, what do you think? What do you think he's going to go?
Yeah, no, he's staying. All right, the next one also a little simmering, but I mean not a ton there. But I just wanted to test the waters. Aaron Rodgers, I think he's staying.
Yeah, he's staying. We ain't got to talk much about this. I think he's staying. I think it's clear.
Colts give him the next 5 years.
All right, here's one. Matt Ryan, and I say it just makes too much sense to send him to the 49ers. Funny.
Oh, and that would be terrifying because we saw him have that MVP year with Kyle Shanahan. But I really think they're going to try 1 or 2 years and just let Matt Ryan run his course in Atlanta. So I think he's staying.
I think he stays, but I think they draft a quarterback. I do. I think they're gonna test. They're gonna do what they did with a few QBs we've seen in the past. Carson Wentz. They're gonna draft a quarterback. They're gonna be like, hey, if you're not gonna do it this year, we're gonna make him do it. So I think I agree with Son. I think one or 2 more years. I think one at most, in my personal opinion. 36 years old. I mean, how much time are we really gonna give him? So I think he stays, but I think they draft a quarterback.
All right, and because I said that Ryan was going to the 49ers, Jimmy G, I think, is going to land with the Patriots again.
Oh, please make it happen.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I want that to happen. I'm gonna agree with Mike. I love it. Bring him back to the Patriots. I like it, Mike.
Wow. Okay, so how was Jimmy G this year? Not really.
I mean,
not
I
really
wouldn't
that
write to my
relevant.
grandma about it, but
Right. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. But I mean I could see him going back to the Patriots. That would be pretty spectacular in my opinion. I don't think San Francisco does anything with Jimmy G. I mean, what they signed him to what was the deal? I forget what his contract was, but it was up there. It was
All
up
I know
there.
is it's easy for them to get out of. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like that. It's not like the albatross that is the Deshaun Watson contract. That's another reason I just do not. It's just the Texans are going to hang on for dear life there. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going in circles here. But so you guys are still. Are you doubling down on Derek Carr is gone? You don't think Derek Carr stays, or if it's only for Deshaun Watson?
Only for Deshaun Watson. I don't think there's anyone else they would trade him for, but just Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I don't see him leaving. I think he still has a ton of juice in him. So like I said before, unless it's for Deshaun, he's not going anywhere.
All right, Dak Prescott staying.
Staying.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna franchise tag him.
Yeah. All right. Now here's one I've got for you. I want to see your little takes on this one. Darnold to the Steelers. Discuss.
Yeah, I mean, I
Wow.
like that. I like that. I mean, they definitely could use a QB to develop, but I mean, I said it last time. I think he's gonna be gone, but I'm going with Washington, the Washington football team. So
I never
that's
thought, you know what? But they got Heineke. They got Heineke. I mean, we saw what he did. That's pretty good.
yeah, make him
But
compete.
no,
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Good
they'll
problem to have.
compete. They can compete, I guess. That's not a bad
yeah, I
one.
mean,
That's not a bad one.
no, it's not. I think the Steelers are a perfect choice, actually. I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, why not? Um, get them out of the New York system. New York's gonna be probably drafting a quarterback anyway. Let them,
Yep.
get into that Pittsburgh Steel City area and let him work his magic. I don't see
His
Donald
his
staying. So
his college teammate Juju will be
Yeah.
gone though.
And see,
So
I'm
yeah,
saying Washington. That's why I said Washington. I want Washington to get Terry
yeah,
McLaurin and Juju and Logan Thomas, and you got Sam Darnold throwing to him.
that'd be nice.
I
That'd
mean,
that
be
because
would be
nice.
nice.
Washington,
That'd be better
at the
for
end of the
Sam.
day, Washington did make the playoffs. And if you want to win now, I don't think it's a terrible idea to give up your first round pick. And again, we got to remember Darnold is younger than Joe Burrow. So keep that in mind. He's still
Wow, you
young.
know what? I just thought about that
He's
now.
young. Yeah, he's young.
Wow.
I mean, Washington is a win now team. Again, they made the playoffs. Get a quarterback, get
Well,
receivers. Who
they're
knows?
no doubt, in my opinion, probably the best team in the NFC East as of right now.
All right. Speaking of the NFC East, Carson Wentz. Does he
Oh
stay?
man, I want
Does he
rumors to
go?
end.
I also another thing. It just makes too much sense to go to the Colts. It just does make too much
Yes.
sense.
Yeah.
You guys are on the same page there.
I mean, yeah.
Well,
I mean, apparently the news says the Bears the front runner, but what I'm hoping they get Zach Ertz and Carson Wentz and get a reunion with Frank Reich, and we know he knows how to work with them. So that's what I'm hoping
I don't
for.
see him going anywhere else but the Colts. But we know Howie Roseman, so he'll probably trade him for a bunch of pogo sticks and LED
Well,
lights.
apparently they're
You
asking
know,
for 2 first-round picks. So
Yeah, I don't know how you're gonna
Ridiculous.
get. I don't even
yeah,
know. They're probably struggling to get one first round pick out for Carson Wentz right now because of what he played
I
like.
wouldn't.
Yeah,
yeah. I
I
mean,
don't. I mean, unless there's a team that I've heard them speak on different podcasts and different shows before that, and I mean, I personally agree, and I thought about this myself. You know, unless you're a team that can look at Carson and say he's going to get us a Super Bowl, why would you give up even one first round pick for a guy that can't guarantee you a Super Bowl? I mean, it's a risk to be taken, but I think the Colts, I really do. But watch this trade for Nick Foles. I mean, watch it happen.
Okay, all right. And if the Bears are the front runner and don't get him, or if they do, Trubisky. Now I think Trubisky stays because I mean, if no one wants him, that's
yeah,
funny.
I don't.
yeah. I mean, if Carson Wentz goes to the Colts, I think they're just going to run it back with Mitch at that point. I mean, they did make it to the playoffs, so I mean, at that point, might as well just see what you got.
Yeah,
No
I-
one's going to be like, oh, I'll take him as a part of this deal. No one's going to do that. And so even if they do get someone else, the Bears, which is my next one, that I think they'll just keep him. Ryan Fitzpatrick, my next one. I think he goes to the Bears. Sonny.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Patriots, and I say they get him.
Oh!
They get him and they draft a quarterback, and it'll be kind of the similar situation that we saw this year in Miami. Have Fitzpatrick maybe start off the season, have a young quarterback, maybe develop a whole year or half the season, and then maybe get in after the bye week or something. So I can see the Patriots maybe taking a chance on these veterans.
yeah.
So, but all right, so this is all it's all domino pieces, right?
Mhm.
So before all that, do you think the 49ers stick with Jimmy G?
Okay, I know I
Because
said
if
with
they
you whatever as
don't,
much. Yeah.
If they don't, he's going to New England. Like New England is like
Yeah.
they're desperately seeking for something, and they're going to try and grab him if he's available. They're going to
Mhm.
pay more than other people would. They know him. If the 49ers get rid of him, I just see him going back to New England. And so that would
Yeah.
mean that Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't go there.
I mean, yeah, I know. As much as I actually really, really want Jimmy G to go to the Patriots. I think Bill Belichick deserves them, and we saw it work together. But personally, I do think they're just going to run it with Jimmy G at least one more year, and then maybe next year he's a Patriot. But as of right now, I say Jimmy G. And I mean, who knows? Maybe Shanahan takes a chance on someone like Mac Jones or something, but we'll see. But I think he'll be the quarterback starting next year.
All right, I got one more, and then you can tell me about one that you think I forgot to mention, which I did. Marcus Mariota is getting some love on the rumor mill here. So my thought, since I already have Matt Ryan leaving, I say Mariota goes in, they draft a guy too. So what do you think about that?
Oh man, that's tough. I mean, I would love to see him get a starting shot somewhere, but I'm just trying to think on the top of my head for like someone that would need a quarterback. I mean, maybe even like something like Jacksonville or something, just to even have a backup for Trevor Lawrence. I mean, who knows? Did Trevor Lawrence getting surgery? I mean,
but
maybe learn with a veteran.
He would only go somewhere to be a starter because he's under contract. So the Raiders would have to trade him somewhere, and they're not going to trade him to a team that's going to use him as a backup because they wouldn't get enough back. They might as well just keep him. He's a really good backup. So I think the Falcons would want that known commodity and not push a rookie into starting on such a terrible team.
I mean, even Washington, that's another team again. They made like we said about Darnold. Even Washington, it wouldn't have to give up much to get him. And I mean, they have a good team all around. So I like Washington actually.
I mean, personally, I had two teams, and you took one of them. It's going to be Washington. It's going to be Indianapolis, right there. I just think Indianapolis is trying to make a shot. They need a quarterback, but I feel like Washington
they're going to aim higher.
Makes sense.
They're not. Indianapolis isn't going to aim. They're going to aim higher than some.
No, they're definitely going to aim higher. But I think it's like one of those emergency. Like, okay, well, we need a quarterback, and if he's still on there, why not take him? Because he's shown flashes of how good he can be. But I think I agree with Sonny though. Washington. I mean,
all right. Did I miss anybody? Do you guys want to talk about Bridgewater? I feel like he's under contract.
No, Cam Newton though.
That's such a boring one because he's not.
Well, I had an interesting take about that one. What do you guys think if the Ravens the Ravens bring in Cam Newton as a backup, but they use him as a Taysom Hill role, so you kind of give him some play at quarterback, to get some sneaks, and we know he's maybe the best QB sneaker in the league. So those short 1-yard gains, fourth down, they can use Cam Newton even as a goal line back, and they can even use him as a tight end. We saw him in week 17. When Jacoby Myers threw that dime to Cam Newton. So I'm thinking, they utilize 2-3 times on the field. Maybe use Cam Newton's athleticism because we know his throwing, his shoulders, something's bothering him. And maybe he takes on a different role. Again, a Taysom Hill-esque role as a backup to Lamar Jackson. I think they could do some magic.
Nah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's either that or it's done. Like, it's over for him. Sadly.
I think there's a spot for him as a backup somewhere.
Absolutely.
Maybe to another veteran. I don't know. I do think there's a spot for him as a backup in the league. But that's a good one. Did I miss any other ones?
I mean, we still have the Winston thing. You guys think he'll be back with the Saints?
Yeah, it makes too much sense.
I think it's his best option. I do. Yeah. I think it's the best option.
All right, last topic here. Last topic, guys. We're going to talk about those top 5 rookie QBs. All right? Same format. The first one, probably going to be easy. Trevor Lawrence. He's going to Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, next one. Let's just move on. On to the next one.
Okay. All right, yeah. All right, so Justin Fields, I do have the Jets. I think the Jets will take him with that number 2 pick. They just had Sam Darnold, and it feels like everyone else in this class is another Sam Darnold except for Justin Fields. Like, you just got to go with something different, and he's different. You have a rookie head coach there who's defensive guy. Fields is obviously going to be I think he's going to be pretty good as a rookie, but he'll be dynamite compared to a boring person. Like, he's not a boring quarterback. He'll be exciting no matter what he does. thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. Fields is personally my second on my QB board. He's my second choice. But I know Nate agrees too. I think the Jets are going to take Zach Wilson, and I would take Fields, but I think the Jets take Zach Wilson.
Yeah, that you think that way too, Nathan?
Yeah, Nate does think he's going to go to the Jets.
So, well, who
Oh,
would you
the Jets
personally
too.
take between the two, Nate? I'm curious.
Between Justin Fields and Zach Wilson?
Yeah, because I'm going with Fields, but I don't think he's going to be the second one taken.
Yeah, I don't think Fields is going to be the second one taken. I actually think he's going to drop 2 or 3 spots. I don't know. I mean, I could just, like I said, I see him. If I wanted to choose, I would take Fields. I would. I would take Fields, and also depending on the system. I feel like he works in more systems that are open to him than Wilson will. I think Wilson's a great quarterback from BYU, but no, probably Fields, but Wilson definitely at the Jets.
You guys don't subscribe to my thought process of they just had that they need something other than what they just had. They need something exciting. They need something different, and he's different.
He's different.
No, all right, fine. So number 3, we just talked about it. You guys have Zach Wilson going to the Jets. I personally have that third draft selection right now is owned by the Dolphins, right? So it's going Jacksonville, New York Jets, Dolphins. So assuming 1 and 2 are quarterbacks, which probably they will be, and I think it's going to be Fields. So if Zach Wilson's there at 3, I think you see the Broncos go, hello, yes, please, Dolphins, whatever it takes, we're going for it. And I think the Broncos will land Zach Wilson. But you two, you're set on the Jets. You're not going to change your mind. I didn't convince you.
No, I mean, so I personally it's actually funny though because I actually have I have a team trading up to get Justin Fields though, and I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the Carolina Panthers, and I don't know with who. Maybe it's Miami, maybe it's not, but I think they jump into the top 5. And I mean, we know they're aggressive. They've already been out in public saying, Teddy's a good guy and everything, but he's not their guy. He's not their future. They want a quarterback bad, and I think they're going to make a move and they're going to jump up and get Justin Fields. And if it's the other way around, regardless, I think they're going to take one of those 3 quarterbacks some way.
Yeah. So the Panthers have that pick
at 8, and I don't see them falling to 8. So I think they're going to be giving up draft picks and jumping.
But are they going to be able to compete? Like Denver is more. Denver to me feels more desperate than the Panthers do to jump up to that number 3 spot. I don't think anyone's. I guess it depends on what the Jets do, but
I mean, here's the other thing. Apparently, Denver wasn't willing to give up Drew Lock in the Matthew Stafford deal. Carolina would have given up Teddy Bridgewater in a heartbeat if they could have gotten Matthew Stafford, and they both tried.
Matthew Stafford over Drew Lock.
Exactly.
I don't see anything. And I don't want to be, that guy that doesn't want to develop young quarterbacks, but I don't see him doing much in Denver. Drew Lock. I think Stafford would. You told me that, and I'm like, what? What? So.
All right. Last 2 here. Mac Jones. I have him going to the Falcons, and that 4 spot since Denver trades up ahead of them at 3. What say you, Mac Jones? Maybe go there anyway. I don't know.
I mean, I think 49ers, and I think the 49ers trade down so they can get Mac Jones later, and they get Mac Jones later. And I actually think that he'll go after Trey Lance too. So.
And then that last one, Trey Lance, I had falling to the Panthers. The Panthers, in my mind, are not gonna be desperate enough to jump up. And then the Falcons aren't giving up their pick at 4. So Trey Lance just falls right into place with the Panthers. Nate, close us out here. Do you love Trey Lance to the Panthers as much as I do?
No, I think it's gonna be Mac Jones actually.
Oh, so wait, where do you think Trey Lance is going?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be moving. I mean, I have so many ideas of what could happen. Sonny literally took the words right out of my mouth about Carolina going up and stealing them. I mean, when you said Mac Jones to the Excuse me, I'm thinking the Atlanta Falcons. I was actually thinking possibly the Falcons could be moving up to get Justin Fields. I know it's a long shot, but it's certainly possible. I mean, it can happen. But Mac Jones to the Panthers. I mean, seems all right. I mean, I don't mind it. I don't know. I really don't. There's so much that could happen. So I'm stuck in the middle. Put too much
Well,
pressure on me.
I was gonna say
Don't hit me.
one more thing to build off. So I said in the free agency thing, Fitzpatrick to the Patriots. I think they can get Trey Lance and Fitzpatrick and have Trey Lance sort of develop under Fitzpatrick. And again, I mean, he didn't play at all this season. Super young, needs to develop. So maybe take a whole year off, maybe play half the season. So I think that could be a good combo in New England. So there's my prediction.
I think we're going to be looking back at this episode and going, Mike, how did you know? How much of a genius are you?
Good. This is definitely one we'll look back at. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know I'll be
All right.
keeping track, Mike. You know I'll be keeping track.
We got some deals about to happen. We got to do more like hot takes and deals going on between you two.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, we'll discuss it another time. Maybe we'll bargain on Deshaun Watson since I think differently than you guys. But that's it for today. Thank you for listening. For Nate Holleran, Sonny Chowdhury, I'm Mike Hendel. If you like this episode and you think like, oh, this is my favorite episode. Why was that? What's different about this episode that made it so good? Well, you can check us out on all your favorite social channels. We're on there. We're all over the place. Inside the Hashes. Look for us Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything you want. We're there. And InsideTheHashes.com. So, like I said, for Sonny and Nate, I'm Mike Hendel. That's all, folks.
See ya.
Just